Did I hear some cheap Better Call Saul rip-off copyright-free music? I think that's my cue to get on. Afraid expediency. Alright, Lugger, let's do it. Well, hello and welcome into this Tuesday's Movie News. I am Jonathan C. Walsh, back doing a sole show for the first time in the better part of a month. I have not been on doing solo shows, but I am here tonight in a good mood, having been slightly delayed by a game of football being played, or soccer, as other parts of the world like to call the beautiful game, the beautiful sport that is football. It's been happening in my city and I've enjoyed the result, so I'm in a fantastic mood, and I'm here to discuss movie news, all of the latest happenings and some of the slightly delayed happenings which we didn't get round to speaking about yesterday, which I am going to regurgitate and speak about tonight from Hollywood and beyond. As you can see, if you've clicked on the headline on the thumbnail on YouTube, you will understand that I am not primarily, but first and foremost going to be speaking about Yahya Abdul-Mateen II and his confirmation via various sources that he's going to be playing Wonder Man. Now, I'm going to quickly type Yahya Abdul-Mateen II up just so I can get his IMDb filmography, because I'm going to go over it briefly when I'm discussing this man's career and why I think he is the fucking perfect choice to play Wonder Man. But Wonder Man is a superhero sort of villain, morally ambiguous character, which I was not hugely aware of up until, well, fairly recently, when it was announced, I believe, at Comic-Con, that we were getting a Wonder Man series, and it was going to be helmed by the man of the moment, Daniel Destin Cretton, who of course did Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. He is the man of the moment because he has been confirmed to not only be involved in this, directing this, being a creative force in this venture, this TV show on Disney+, but also he's going to be doing the Kang Dynasty Avengers movie, the first of two, I believe, or the second of two, even though I'm not entirely sure what the ordering is of the upcoming double-header Avengers movies that are going to bookend Kang's influence on this more cosmic, multiversal phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He is the man involved in that. He's the man of the moment. That's the first time I'd heard of Wonder Man. It's going to take a bit of adjusting to stop trying to say Wonder Woman in my brain, because every time I say Wonder, I just want to say woman. I am drawn immediately to Gal Gadot, to Patty Jenkins, and to DC, and Lord knows I will be drawn to DC after this topic as well. Actually, a couple of topics on. I'm going to stick with Marvel for the time being, but as you can see, I'll bring it up. Hopefully it will work. It does work like magic. Yeah, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II cast as the lead in Marvel's Wonder Man series. Shang-Chi's Destin Daniel, so it is Destin, it's not Daniel. That's one of those names. It's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, John David Washington. Those double barrel names always get me. They always trip me up. But it's definitely Destin Daniel Cretton is set to direct. Now, I love Destin. I think he's fantastic. I really enjoyed Shang-Chi. For me, my favourite outside of Spider-Man No Way Home, my favourite MCU movie in this phase to date, I'm going to go in and I'm going to hide this user on the channel, and I am going to report this fucking god-awful spam for what it is, and hopefully that will be it. It will be gone for now anyway. There will be another form. There is another. It will be back with a vengeance. Shang-Chi for me is still my favourite Marvel movie in this phase. I really enjoyed the balance of it, the humour. Awkwafina was great in it. Simu Liu was great in it. And the guy who played the father, I just thought it was a stunning performance. What a villain. That's how you do villains on a more human level. I mean, that wasn't really human. It was this mystical sort of world he was transported to at the end. There was fucking dragons and sort of mythological creatures. going through the air, lots of magic happening. But it was a more human level in comparison to Thanos, or perhaps in comparison to Loki, who's a fucking god from Asgard, a demigod. That's how you do it. I thought you get brilliant performances out of the entire cast. Simu is a tour de force. I just realised there was something about the movie, the score, the vibes, the visuals. And of course, there is a slight connection in here as well. Because one Sir Ben Kingsley, who played the actor masquerading as the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, was in that Shang-Chi movie, and what an impact he had in that movie. Very, very funny. Playing a Scouser, no less. Never seen that coming. He's going to be in this as well. He is going to be popping up. By all accounts, Wonder Man, bit of a film fanatic in his off days, when he's not potentially killing or saving people in equal measures. He wants to be an actor. And by all accounts, given a conduit into acting with Hercules. I'm going to mute this. Fucking hell, it's a shambles. Muted it so I could sneeze. I changed the scene while I was trying to mute it. That's what happens when you try to use a Stream Deck without looking at it. Yeah, Hercules, of all people, the world's strongest man. I think that's what his title is. I may be wrong. He is used as a sort of conduit with Wonder Man to get him into acting. He becomes a fucking actor at one point in his story in the comics. A thoroughly interesting character, but look, needless to say, I'll get back to this. What I was saying, Yahya Abdul is set to move over from DC to Marvel to lead the studio's Disney Plus series Wonder Man. Still feels strange saying that. It doesn't feel quite right saying Wonder Man instead of Wonder Woman. Deadline has reported in June the series was announced to be in development with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I always want to say the 10 Rings. Director Destin Daniel Cretton and Hawkeye co-producer Andrew Guest involved in the project. I quite liked Hawkeye as well. It wasn't the greatest stuff TV-wise to come out of Marvel in the last year, but it was okay. I quite liked it. Yelena is always sadly Florence Pugh, as much as I love her as an actor, as much of a free spirit of a person, spirited person she is. Her sort of Russian accent grates on me. Sokovian accent really does grate on me quite a bit. But I didn't mind it, and the fact the co-producer of Hawkeye's in there, they're using a blend of experience here from the movies and the TV. Hopefully it's going to work harmoniously. I'm going to get something special on this TV show. Wonder Man, I'm not going to give a history of Wonder Man. Needless to say, it was created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby and Don Heck. It's been about for a long time. As you see, develops an interest in acting. Hercules, rumoured to be coming to the MCU, helps him establish a career as an actor, as a thespian. So he's a thoroughly interesting character. One of the more interesting aspects of the character is the fact he actually starts as a villain. No less. He is a villain at the start, and then he fights the actual Avengers. Then he becomes a superhero, or a hero, a heroic figure later in his arc, and actually fights with the Avengers. And I love those kind of characters. That's what I've not seen Black Adam yet, but that's what I was hoping we'd get with Black Adam. Dwayne Johnson playing this sort of morally ambiguous champion, corrupted champion, a former Shazam who turns evil, a corrupt bit of a maverick, and then he kind of flip-flops, almost like a Krychek from X-Files, back and forth between the good and the sort of bad. And just seeing that playing out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe would be something very interesting for me. We've obviously explored that with Tom Hiddleston's Loki. He's been good, he's been bad, he's been bad, he's been good. It's flip-flopped back and forth again and again and again. One of the characters I really enjoy in the cinematic universe, no less Loki. Perhaps that's the reason why. And just the fact that Baron Zemo, is the guy who almost mentored and gave him his powers. He was the guy who enabled Wonder Man to become superheroic, to have, I don't know if those are visible, those spam messages that are coming up. I suspect they probably are, and they're a pain in the fucking arse, I'm not going to lie. I hate this shit. Put user in timeout. Fuck off. 69mega.com. Nude AI dating for all tastes and ages. What the fuck does that mean? Get out of here. But also again, Yeah, Baron Zemo. He imbued him with his power. I love Daniel Brühl. I think he's fantastic. He's one of my favourite actors. When he pops up in something, I'm usually transfixed. Not just by the project, but by him as well. The indelible touch he lends to the project. Obviously, he was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He was absolutely sublime in it. He's, I think, currently with the Doriash, is that what they're called? The sort of special ops of Wakanda. They have took him. He's currently imprisoned, as far as I'm aware. This could be a flashback though. We could see this take place prior to those events where he is mentoring, giving the power to Wonder Man. I keep saying it. It's going to be hard to transition away from saying woman to man, although I just did it there. I'd love to see Daniel Brühl popping up in this TV show, getting a backstory of this character, showing us how he became Wonder Man. And anything with Daniel Brühl's it's a happy little tree, I was about to say there. Channeling my inner Bob Ross. It's just a happy moment for me, seeing that actor in anything. So if that could be allowed to happen, that would be another Brucey bonus for me for this TV show, this series on Disney+. But I tell you what, man, I've not really been into the actual crux of the actual headline, which is, of course, the casting of Yahya Abdul. I think this is inspired. There you can see Ben Kingsley's in there. He's going to be coming back as Trevor Slattery, the Scouse actor. Probably liaising with your man, Wonder Man, who loves acting. He's going to be in there. That's great as well. I love Ben, man. He's a fucking epic actor. One of the very best of his generation. But yeah, this guy's he's stellar. Yeah. You look at his career today, he's only had 22 roles, stemming back to 2012. His career as an actor's only really been a thing for 10 years. This guy's a couple of years older than me, I believe. Still a relatively young guy, mid-30s. He's got great longevity in the role. I've seen comments saying under the articles that are discussing this news that he'll be nearly 40 by the time this TV show hits the screen. That's not old. 40's not fucking old. Mahershala Ali in his mid to late 40s, not even shot Blade yet. You wouldn't say that he's got limited time with that character because he's coming up for 50. 40's not old. And he's not 40 yet, he's only 35, 36, so he's a youngish man. He's got longevity, but most importantly, he's got just brilliance backing him up. He's a fantastic actor. I think this is an inspired choice for Wonder Man. The fact he's jumping over from DC, I've not yet seen Aquaman 2, I don't think anyone has, it's not fucking out yet. But Black Manta, we didn't linger enough on Black Manta for me in that first Aquaman movie, and what we did get with him, brilliant continuous shot, James Wan, fucking sort of visual porn. That shot, obviously he was hunting down in that moment in the movie. What we did get with him in that movie was inspired, but that's not really what I'm here to talk about in terms of his career. I don't really care about the Aquaman stuff, although it is noteworthy because he's jumping over from DC to Marvel, and that's always a big thing. Of course, James Gunn's just jumped from Marvel, Disney to DC. He's became his own little Kevin Feige there. Not that he's little, he isn't. It's just a turn of phrase. As you can see, he's been in Baywatch. He's had a really varied career, this guy, The Greatest Showman. First Match, I don't know that. Aquaman, Us, working with Jordan Peele, Black Mirror, brilliant TV show. Fucking zany, mental. Something actually starting to look more saner than reality. As you can see here, The Trial of the Chicago 7 was another outstanding movie with the likes of Sacha Baron Cohen. It was on Netflix, I believe. Academy Award nominated movie. I don't know if it won. He played Morpheus, a younger version of Morpheus in The Matrix Resurrections. I seem to be one of the very few people on planet Earth that quite liked The Matrix Resurrections. I thought it was decent. It was certainly better than the third Matrix movie from the early 2000s. I'd say it's better than the second one as well. I really enjoyed it. I quite liked that movie. I know some people hate it. And for nothing more that I got out of it than to change my monitor setups, because the way that Keanu had his monitor set up in that desk in that movie, I'm like, that is fucking cool. Slanting it away. Now I do that as well, so I've got Keanu to thank for saving my eyesight in that movie, or the production team creating that set for Keanu's. I'm blanking on the name. Why am I blanking? Mr. Anderson. Jesus Christ. I thought he was fucking great in that. I really did. Candyman, recreating, sort of soft reboot, quasi reboot sequel of the 1990s cult classic that haunted all of little kids in my era's childhoods say Candyman, I think it's 5 times in a mirror and they'll appear. My fucking God, we did that a lot when I was going to school. And he was in that. She's just had a really good career up to date. It's been very varied. And I just think he's an absolutely fucking brilliant actor. And this is an inspired choice. It's a character that seems fresh to me. I've seen people saying it's a Z-list. This is beneath him. What we need is another Tony Stark. Well, we're not going to get another Tony Stark. You've got to be realistic and look at what is left on the table. Bringing a guy of Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character, his calibre of acting on board, bringing this character to life on Disney Plus initially, transitioning over to the movies afterwards, can only be a good thing for Wonder Man, can only be a good thing for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. More big personalities, brilliant actors coming in, more brilliant black actors coming in as well, because that's something you always like to see. I'm well on board for this, man. I think this is a fucking brilliant casting choice. I'm really liking the character, the little I've read into him. Really interesting that he's worked with the likes of Zemo, that he's worked in this sort of morally ambiguous setting where he's good, he's bad, he's bad, he's good. Really looking forward to seeing where this show goes. The fact Destin Daniel Cretton's involved, all of the right people are in play here, and I just can't see how this show isn't anything other than a success. I'm really looking forward to it, and I love the choice of lead. But I'm going to move on, man. That was very, very, very wooden. That was almost Daisy Ridley in the initial shots of The Force Awakens level wooden. Difference is, I will not go and cry in a trailer afterwards. I will get on with it. Onwards and upwards. Sam Wilson, set to battle Thunderbolt Ross in NWO, says. Oh, it's flashing. Yes, NWO, that's right, light. New World Order, Captain America 4. Thunderbolt Ross, of course, recently recast with the man, the myth, the legend that is Harrison Ford. Obviously following the sad passing of, and I'm blanking on his name, which is absolutely fucking terrible. Why am I blanking on this actor's name? Passed away earlier in the year. Recast with Harrison Ford. Harrison's going to be in Thunderbolt. He's going to be playing a sort of a potential ringleader figure in that. That's sort of Suicide Squad of the MCU. And by all accounts, he's going to be the man that Sam is coming up against in his very first outing as Captain America in his own movie. As you can see here, MCU producer Nate Moore teases a story for Captain America New World Order, which will see Sam Wilson clash with General Thunderbolt Ross, who of course was the same man who put him in jail for breaking the Sokovian records, I believe it was he broke in Civil War. So we have that connection, way back, 10 years ago now? Maybe not 10 years ago, 8 years ago. I think it was like 2014, 15, Civil War. 8 years ago. We've got that connection, that lovely little piece of connective tissue, going back to the very last Captain America movie that was released. Obviously Steve Rogers, Sam was very much on Steve's side. They were thicker than thieves, thick as thieves. Good friends, followed them everywhere. And we're going to see ramifications of this potentially in the very next Captain America story. I like the sort of way it's flown. I like the idea behind this. And the fact it's Harrison Ford, man, this guy's now in his 80s, I believe. He's still going strong. Potential Red Hulk. I think that's the name of the character he ultimately becomes. I've got some trepidations over Harrison Ford in his 80s, late 70s certainly. Getting mo-capped up and playing a version of Hulk, an evil Hulk, if you like. That'd be worrying to me. But look, first and foremost, we'll just grab the positive, which is General Thunderbolt Ross playing the villain. I worried about the villain in this movie. It concerned me where they were going to go with Captain America 4. What do you do with it? Where do you take Sam Wilson as Captain America? Because when you think of the trilogy that has been and went, I don't even know if that's English, but I says it anyway, that's came and went. That was the word I was looking for. It was always about Hydra. It was always about Bucky, James Buchanan, this sort of connection, man out of time. He then becomes settled in his time, and then obviously all ends lovely in Endgame. You then introduce his friend, Sam Wilson. He gives him a shield, he passes it on to him. This struggle for recognition, this struggle for acceptance in a society which has obviously got issues with race, even now, to this day. The issues within his own sort of community as well, about taking this on, being the sort of front for the Stars and Stripes. That's an interesting concept, but that's not going to carry you through 2-3 movies. You need some coherent villainous fucking, I don't know, story that's going to thread itself through a trilogy. Something that's going to work. Did they bring James Buchanan back? I'm sure Sebastian Stan would love to appear in a Captain America movie. Of course, Thunderbolt Ross, he's potentially working for him. How the fuck's it going to work? I'm just excited to see we have got a very, very decent villain popping up. And as I did say, the fucking writer himself has been out giving us a sense of what's to come for this movie. And this is what he had to say, speaking to Collider. He said this: well, look, Sam Wilson's Captain America, he is going to bring his own team to play. It's no secret that Samuel Stearns is making his return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is fantastic. My dog's at the door. Because Tim Blake Nelson's the best. He is. He's fucking great. Harrison Ford is taking on the role of General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. And to see Sam Wilson and Thunderbolt Ross, which if you remember actually threw him in prison at the end of Civil War because he violated the Sokovia records, there's going to be some natural sparks there which I think are going to be really fun. There is some natural sparks there. You've got that sort of connective tissue going on there. What it means for the story, I mean, I'm certainly intrigued to see this. I don't really want to see Red Hulk. I think that would be a recipe for disaster. Just purely because, as good as Harrison is, mocapping a man in his 80s and having him try and be this big, powerful, athletic force of nature. I mean, Mark Ruffalo's not exactly a big, powerful, athletic force of nature, but he is a lot fucking younger. And he's actually got a good physique, surprisingly. If you watch Stillwaters, you will see that. If you watch fucking anything the man's been in, he's fucking jacked. Mark, he definitely is. Harrison's jacked, but he's much older. I wouldn't want to see this, I'm not going to lie, but certainly if he's going to be the villain as General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in the first movie, then obviously the natural conclusion would be him becoming Red Hulk and it becoming an existential threat for Captain America. I don't know where they're going to go with this, man, but I genuinely did find it very interesting, sort of connecting back to Civil War. This is the first stint for Sam as Captain America in the movie sense. And just seeing him with that new suit, seeing him passing the wings over to the little guy that was in the TV show whose name I've already forgotten. Just all the little parts are starting to come together for this movie now. And it is starting to become a very interesting picture indeed. My personal preference, and it's the last thing I'm going to say on it, I want to see Thunderbolt Ross just harbouring a grudge against Sam because of the events of Civil War, him becoming almost the poster boy for this changing landscape, changing attitudes towards the Avengers, towards superheroes, them not having to reveal their identities, them becoming part of society, being accepted. These powerful figures, they're not weapons of mass destruction as he and others try to suggest they were during the original Captain America trilogy. Just seeing him harbouring that grudge, continuing it on, and just trying to go at him sly as fuck, like Robert Redford's character did in the original Captain America trilogy, and into, I believe, Age of Ultron he may have been in as well. Him acting like that and then developing into something really interesting. Multiple villains is what I'm suggesting here. Maybe even using the Thunderbolts in some way. Having this sort of moral issue of James Buchanan, Bucky, coming back, White Wolf, whatever the fuck he's going to be referred to going forward. Maybe facing off against his friend. I don't want to see that, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tony Mackie can bring to this character. I love the guy. I think he's absolutely great. Just a brilliant guy off the camera. You watch all of his interviews, you get a vibe of what he's about. This man's got a fucking herbal sort of shower that emits oils as he showers. That's good enough for me. He stays the vast majority of his year in Louisiana, New Orleans, I believe. He eats some fucking seriously good food. He's got a great sense of humour. A brilliant guy. I wish him nothing but the fucking best moving forward. I'm going to move on though to another guy I wish nothing but the best to moving forward. Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill announced over the last week or so he's going to be returning as Superman. Initially as a cameo, I believe. But then there's been a series of events which have unfolded after that initial announcement that have potentially... I mean, following his return in Black Adam, he's appeared... I've not seen Black Adam yet. I've not seen it yet. I need to go and see it. Is it out yet? I think it may be. It's earned nearly $1 billion at the box office. He's returned. I need to see Black Adam. Love Dwayne Johnson. It's blasphemy I've not seen it. Following that return, there's been a series of events which have seen people having nervous breakdowns, so-called people in the know, on Twitter, on YouTube, hint hint, Grace Randolph, having a breakdown over Henry, seemingly revealing a pent-up hatred for a man she doesn't even know. This is a woman who's been called a bullshitter in the past by James Gunn, who's of course overseeing DC now. He's the creative, omnipotent force over there at Warner Brothers. I'm sure Grace will love that. She's been called a bullshitter. This guy's now in control. Even if Henry wasn't set to come back as Superman long term, I feel that James Gunn is just the right kind of personality to give him at least 1 or 2 more movies just to get it right up her. Just found that really, really interesting, really strange, the nonsense she was coming out with. That was a nice little byproduct of this news. But of course, he has left The Witcher. He's hung up his white hair, replaced it potentially for lovely slicked back brown hair. That was harder than it should have been to say. Potentially returning long term as Superman. I personally think he is, and it's great fucking news for me. But as you can see here, that's not what I'm talking about initially anyway. I'll get into that, I'm sure, in the next article, which is actually the producer of The Witcher. Not at all harbouring these sour grapes that the likes of a Grace Randolph seems to possess towards Henry Cavill for leaving the TV show. Apparently Henry isn't an actor, incidentally, a movie star. But we'll get into that. Henry has come out and spoke about his hopes for Superman moving forward. He hopes it will be a more inspiring character. Because of course, a bit dour in Man of Steel, a bit dour in Batman v Superman, a bit dour and grouchy after being murdered and resuscitated, revived in Justice League. So it would be nice to see a little bit more of a hopeful Kal-El, whatever the fuck, however you pronounce that, Superman. It would be nice to see a more Christopher Reeves. The subway is still the safest and most reliable form of transport. That kind of Superman. Stop! Don't do it! The people! That's what I want to see, but with Henry Cavill. And just a little tinge more darkness in there, because that was a little bit light. But this is what I had to say. Henry had 2 quotes, quite sizable ones, and I'm going to read them. He had this to say: there is so much in the way of conversations to be had. Obviously, I have a very close connection to the character, and there is something extraordinarily special about him. Extraordinarily special about his capacity to give and to love. I don't mean romantically. I mean his love for Earth and for the people who live here. And to make people feel powerful, to make people feel like Superman themselves. I have plenty of desires for this, of course, which will be discussed more in time. Hint hint, wink wink. That means he's coming back to play Superman in his own movies. More in time. If it was just one cameo and he was finished and they were recasting, he wouldn't be speaking about Superman with anybody more in time. He's sticking around. He's playing Superman. Bitches, fuck off. We are going to get a different Superman. We're going to get a sort of alternate Earth Superman, and J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot Company is going to be producing it, and we're going to have a black actor and director in that movie. That's going to be fucking great as well. Really looking forward to that. That will be like Matt Reeves' Batman, separate universe. We're all smart enough. We can compute there is 2 Superman characters existing in different universes at the same time. But Henry's coming back, and I'm over the fucking moon about it, man. I'll finish what you had to say though. But the most important thing, which I will be aiming for, It's for the audience to leave the cinema and to feel like they can fly, to feel like they can protect, and to feel like they want to give to everyone else. That would be my goal. Inspiring words from the guy. Just delighted to see this guy. He's a thoroughly fucking decent human being as well. Just really well spoken. Comes across as a top guy. Worked hard in his career, man. Starred in some big fucking movies. Starring in a Netflix movie, Enola Holmes, I believe it is, the sequel, with Millie Bobby Brown. First one was a well-received movie. He starred in Mission Impossible, this guy. He's worked with Christopher McQuarrie, with Tom Cruise. He's been Superman in multiple blockbusters. They may have flopped, some of them. Some people might not like other ones. But he still played Superman. This guy's a fucking movie star. He's a bona fide movie star. He's still only in his late 30s, maybe early 40s. He's jacked out his brain. He's in the prime of his fucking acting life. Big 6'2" hunk. Immaculate hair. This guy's a fucking movie star. He might not be Brad Pitt. He may not be Leonardo DiCaprio. But it suggests this guy's something of a B-grade actor, that he's a TV actor. That he was only ever going to live out his career on Netflix doing TV content. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The Witcher, I've not seen it because it's not my cup of tea, but by all accounts well respected by a lot of people, and he seemed to be really passionate about the character. But this guy belongs on the silver screen. He belongs on the biggest sort of viewing experience possible, IMAX super screen. He belongs in that cape playing Superman. I fucking love Man of Steel. I thought it was fantastic Superman movie. I loved it. Loved Kevin Costner in it. And I loved, and I'm blanking on his name again, Michael Shannon. I just loved that movie. Everything about it. Just really, really good Superman movie for me. One of my favourite DC movies ever made. And it was down to Henry and his take on the character. Everything he says there, you can certainly egg it up. You can dial it up to fucking 20. But you get a sense that he genuinely loved Earth. He loved humans. Also, that get tested again and again as he went through his story in the actual expanded universe. But that is all the aspects that you get from a good Superman movie. His genuine love, affection for Earth. His sort of adoptive planet for his actual human parents. He belongs in this place. He's a sort of monster in this place in equal measures, though, because some people want to bring him down, Lex Luthor's and people of that nature. That's always something we've got with this character. But first and foremost, I'm just really excited to potentially see Henry Cavill come back and playing this character. We've been speaking about this for years, wanting this guy back. You've pissed away his sort of best years, a decade nearly, where you could have been making brilliant Superman movies. This is one of the greatest comic book fucking heroes ever brought into existence. You've got people at DC and Warner Bros. Saying it needs momentum. James Gunn comes on board, probably been working behind the scenes for many months, and it seems like right away things start moving and we're getting Henry back playing Superman. Long may it fucking continue. Long may he shut the haters up. Fucking really looking forward to seeing movies in the future with this guy in a cape doing Superman shit, stopping Nuclear Man, rebuilding the Great Wall of China, championing the subway system, try to stop people hurting people, evil people hurting good people. That's what I want to see. That's Superman. I'm moving on to the next topic. It's Lupita and Nyong'o. This may be the last topic, incidentally. I've been going on a fair bit, longer than anticipated. 36 minutes. I can fucking talk until my tongue's ready to fall out my mouth, needing resuscitation. But there's a DNR, do not resuscitate, order out. I can talk, and I will talk. Lupita and Nyong'o, A Quiet Place, day 1. This is not A Quiet Place 3. This is not the continuing adventures of even though I don't know the name of the family, but the first two. It's not the continuing adventures of them. It is a separate movie. It's a prequel. Came back to day 1. Who'd have funked it? It's in the fucking title. And yeah, she's in talks to potentially lead this prequel spin-off movie. I heard there was a spin-off show. They were looking to create a cinematic universe, sort of horror dystopian, universe with these aliens. And you know what? Such is the brilliance of John Krasinski's mind. Bear with me, I'm trying to deal with this nose for some reason. Make me try and sound like some nasally voiced cretin. Such is the brilliance of John Krasinski's mind. He has created this all from one interesting little brilliant horror movie, and now it's just became something greater than the sum of its parts. To the point where we are, we've got an Academy Award winning actor in Lupita and Nyong'o interested in starring in it. That's a great achievement from John Krasinski. This is one of the best potential horror franchises moving forward. I love this world. I've been to see the previous two in the theatre. Fucking loved it. Loved the experience, the quietness, the storytelling, the way it sort of enraptures, is that the right word? I don't know. Captures the imagination of the audience. Some of the best experiences I've had in a theatre have been had watching this guy's movies. I don't know if John's involved in this prequel, but I'll be in the theatre watching this, and I will certainly be in the theatre watching it if Lupita's in there, because she's just wonderful. What an actor. But as you can see, just a few weeks out from the return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Black Panther Wakanda Forever star Lupita and Nyong'o is getting ready to join a new film franchise. Deadline is reporting that the Academy Award winner is in final talks to star in A Quiet Place Day 1. The film will be a prequel spin-off of the A Quiet Place series, with Pig director Michael Simosky attached to directing. And that's another bit of a coup there. A coup d'etat. A coup. Not a coup. A coup. Even now, it's starting to lose meaning in my brain when I say it. A coup. That's definitely how you say it. It's a bit of a coup. We have got a fantastic writer, part of the sort of MBE setup, in Gianni, and he couldn't speak highly enough about Pig, Nick Cage movie. So the fact you've managed to attract this guy on as a director, and you're managing to attract this lady here as a leading star, that's a fucking good start. That's a great foundation to build something truly special out of. And the fact it's in this same world that John Krasinski fucking started with a bang, as you can see here in 2018. A little boy with his little rocket ship on the bridge being mauled by the alien. Just the quietness of the first 5-10 minutes in that, I think, convenience store that's abandoned. They're all walking in eggshells. Just a brilliant movie. I fucking loved it, man. Really did. I enjoyed the sequel every bit as much as well. You put Cillian Murphy in anything, it's a special experience. Cillian's brilliantly sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, man. Just incredible cheekbones, his fucking darting blue eyes. You put him in anything, it's special. So I enjoyed the second one as well. So that's sort of the pretext of where I'm at here. This is like fucking candy to a baby to me. I am the exact demographic they were hoping to get into the theatres to inspire with news of this spin-off. I think this spin-off would have been a success regardless of who the cast, man. I just think, as I says, the world's ripe there, man. It's a brilliant, imaginative sort of take on horror for me. What Krasinski created in that first movie, what he managed to continue in the second movie. But fundamentally, going back to Day 1 is something I've enjoyed before. It's something I enjoyed in Fear of the Walking Dead. You've got an established cast, you've got this story that's been going on for years and years. Fear of the Walking Dead, perhaps not as good as The Walking Dead. Well, The Walking Dead's not as good as The Walking Dead, let's be honest. Now, but just that concept taking back, reverse engineering, going with a different group, different perspective, reliving the events. Of course, with that, we didn't actually get to see Rick Grimes' experience. He was in a coma following an accident. He came out, the world was already in tatters and ruin. But they did that there with Fear of the Walking Dead. It's something, it's a concept I like. Obviously, they did it in that flashback sequence in the second A Quiet Place movie, with also the John Krasinski character and the family at the baseball game, running for fucking their lives, trying to survive. Just love that. I love it when they do that. Taking that concept and churning it into a full-on spin-off movie with a different character that can inspire more movies, inspire more content in this world. I'm on board for that, man. I think it's fucking great. Really looking forward to seeing where it takes place as well. Is it a different part of the world? Because of course this thing wouldn't have just been limited to that town that the initial family, the Abbotts, I believe the Abbotts family is the name of the family, It wouldn't have just been limited to where they were. This would have been a widespread sort of invasion of Earth. Pockets of survivors. The sort of connection to similarities to The Walking Dead is really apparent, man, apart from obviously the concept. It's not zombies. And look, I've seen Lupita, I'm pretty sure it was Lupita, in a great little zombie movie as well. I quite enjoyed it. Josh Gad, I think it was in a fucking zoo with kids. I quite liked the movie. So she's familiar to horror. She's done this kind of genre, and she done brilliantly in it again. A great fucking performance in that as well for me. I can hear something in my ear there, and I'm concerned it's coming from out here though. It's external to this room, so it doesn't matter. I seen an advert there in this article, and I thought I was hearing the news from multiple fucking studies, forecasts, worsening, Primus. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Let's not speak about it. So Lupita, man, Lupita's used to this genre. They've just got all the pieces in place, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go with this movie. Fucking exciting times, man. If you're a movie fan, if you're a horror fan, what they're doing here. But I'm going to move on to the final topic, and this is going to be brief, purely because of the connection to Andor. This is why I'm speaking about this. I'm really enjoying Andor. For me, it's the best Star Wars movie, Star Wars TV show, I should say, that Disney have created. And look, that's high praise, because I've really enjoyed The Mandalorian with Pedro Pascal, Giancarlo Esposito, people like that, even Gina Carano before she get fucking screwed. No, she didn't get screwed, she was just a really controversial and quite hateful person, so she get booted, rightfully. I think she was an anti-mask, anti-vaxxer or some shit like that, I don't know. So she was making some really fucking strange comments as well about other things. So, yeah, definitely not screwed. She was kicked, wrong choice of words, she was booted off that TV show, rightfully. But it's high praise. I've really enjoyed The Mandalorian, there's been some interesting stuff getting done. But for me, Andor with Diego Luna, the likes of Andy Serkis coming on board, some brilliant British talent in there. I've really enjoyed this TV show today. I think the writing's been on point, the sort of little Easter eggs to previous things have been on point, the world building's been on point, the split perspective. You get Mon Mothma, you've got Luthen, you've got Cyril, you've got fucking Andor, you've got all these characters doing different shit in different parts of this universe, and this galaxy, all have this part to play in creating the rebellion. Cyril perhaps in worsening the boots in the ground sort of, I don't know, evil, the tyranny of the Empire, because he's just a little obsessive fucking weirdo. Luthen, Mon Mothma, Andor, the different factions, Saw Gerrera of the rebellion. I've really enjoyed the show, that's what I'm saying. And it's largely down to guys like John Gilroy, who's of course related to Tony Gilroy, who was involved in the edits of Rogue One. It's down to guys like that this TV show is popping so well for me. Funnily enough, Tony Gilroy, not even a Star Wars fan, came on board to save Rogue One, came at it from a purely external standpoint, not as a guy obsessed with Star Wars like all the rest of the population seemingly. And he was able to remove himself from maybe the romanticism of this story leading up to A New Hope, and came at it clinically and saved the movie by all accounts. And this is really what Andor editor John Gilroy is revealing. He's revealing the massive changes that his brother Tony Gilroy made to that movie, which was in a bit of a mess. Gareth Edwards, by all accounts, tried to turn it into a soppy romantic fest, wanted the characters to survive. It wouldn't have made fucking sense. They weren't in A New Hope. This took place, literally led right into A New Hope. It wouldn't have made any sense whatsoever. Tony came in, and yeah, John's been out and speaking about it, and this is what I had to say. He was speaking to the Rogue One's podcast. It's almost poetic that he spoke to that specific podcast. He had this to say. It was actually, the basic plan was very simple. They had the movie that they had, and they called Tony in, and Tony huddled for a while with another editor who was on already, calling Gowdy, and used a lot of things that he had discovered when we were working together, and just basically made a new story. It was quite a different story, and then convinced Disney to invest in that story, which was a sizable investment in time and money. And then it was just realising what that was. So it's a new plan. You're not just going in and experimenting. No, we had a new blueprint. That's quite sizable. That's quite a sizable edit. He's saying essentially a whole new story was crafted. And I remember back to the moment, I think it was 2016, going into 2017, maybe even 2015, early 2016 probably, when there was talk of reshoots, and they were trying to play it down. They said it was minor reshoots, just fixing bits and bobs. Of course, we got that initial reveal at Celebration, I think it was, or Comic-Con, and we seen Darth Vader on, I think it may have been his fortress, or maybe even on fucking Krennic's personal ship. We seen the reflection of him speaking, and of course that didn't appear in the actual movie, and there was a lot of people bringing that to attention, if you like, when they watched the movie, just how much of this was changed. We were seeing scenes I think shot in Canary Wharf in London, in the actual tube station, which ultimately didn't make the movie. There was lots of changes hinted at just from a casual viewer going in and watching the movie. And then obviously as time went on, Tony Gilroy came out and spoke about it. He did confirm that it was a lot of creative changes. It was made a much darker movie. The main characters were all killed off, because it made thematic sense. It made sense leading into A New Hope. Where the fuck were these guys? But to see it confirmed again, further embellished out by his brother, that it was in a sense nearly a whole fucking movie remade, just remarkable. And it shows you, and there's a history of this in Star Wars. Obviously George Lucas, the original movie, a bit of a shambles, a bit chaotic, man nearly had a heart attack, and it was actually his wife and maybe even Kurtz, I think it was, or someone else, who came in and saved the movie by re-editing it and giving it a new lease of life. This is something we've seen done again and again, not just in movies but in Star Wars movies, where a separate set of eyes comes in, reassesses it, says this is wrong, that's wrong, changes it, and we get something special in the end. Because this movie is special. This is the best Disney Star Wars movie put out. It may be how close it is to greatness, how close it is to the original trilogy, but for me, just the acting, just stellar. You've got the likes of Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, as I says, Mads Mikkelsen, Ben Mendelsohn. Just a brilliant movie that's got great rewatchability. It feels like Star Wars. It's special to me. And I'm just glad to see that they brought the likes of Tony in and made that something that could be experienced for a Star Wars fan, amidst a sea of absolute shit that came afterwards and before, indeed. Eternally grateful to Tony. Eternally grateful to John for what he's given us with Andor. Great Star Wars content finally for the sort of battered and bruised fandom who have mostly stuck by Lucasfilm and Disney through the good and the absolute fucking god awful. Well man, that's going to round it up. I'm done. I've got nothing more to say about that. I just thought I'd touch upon it briefly. I wasn't even going to speak about it, but then I decided, fuck it, I'll force myself into it. Why not? What is your thoughts on the topics I touched upon? What do you make about Yahya Abdul-Mateen II getting cast as Wonder Man in the upcoming series? It's going to be directed by Destin Daniel Cretton of Shang-Chi fame, of soon-to-be Avengers Kang Dynasty fame. What's your thoughts on the casting, on the show, on the character in general? Share your thoughts down below about that if you've got anything to say. What's your thoughts on the other topics I touched upon on the show? Captain America 4 New World Order. It's going to be Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, General Thunderbolt Ross, I think that's his name. Thunderbolt Ross, who's going to be the villain in Captain America 4. What's your thoughts on that movie, on Sam Wilson's tenure potentially, on the evolution of Thunderbolt Ross? Could he become a Red Hulk? Do you want to see that? I think share your thoughts down below about that. Henry Cavill coming back as Superman, and finally obviously Lupita and Nyong'o potentially in A Quiet Place Day 1, and the Gilroys saving Star Wars almost single-handedly. If you've got anything to say at all, you can comment down below and share your thoughts down below in the comment section. That's the place to put it. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs on YouTube. Hit the same sort of thing over on Twitch. Follow button, notifications button over there to see us doing my thing over there. All that leaves me to say is, regardless of what you do, thank you for watching, and until the next time, I am done.